Welcome back to part 2, guys.
Hi guys, welcome back to part 2, and as what we said, so the part 1 we are going to be talking about behavior and social development, and of course post-weaning care. Are you ready to answer questions, hon?
Yeah.
Okay, first question. How do you balance weaning with socializing the young bird?
They should always be socializing. Even as they're chicks, they should be socializing. So if you're talking socializing with humans, that doesn't really matter. You can keep that to a fair minimum, but it's very important that at this age they're socializing with other birds of similar species, same species, and similar age. That's extremely important for their development, mental development.
Do you house weaning chicks together or separately?
Together, always together. For example, those two sun conures are together. We only have one eclectus chick here that's this age. So this eclectus chick is on its own. However, if we had another baby of similar age, similar size, whether it's an African grey, an eclectus, an Amazon, a macaw, we would be housing it with that. Yeah.
Do you introduce toys and purchase during weaning or wait until it's fully weaned?
So those sun conures you saw for a split second at the beginning of the video, they're in cages with perches. They're still weaning at the moment. They're feeding themselves, but not to the point where I'm happy to cut the hand rearing off completely. This guy here is still in a weaning container, so it does not have perches. Toys are something I don't introduce to young babies. I don't. It is an accident waiting to happen. Beaks getting caught, toes getting caught, legs getting caught, wings getting caught. It is my biggest fear is that first 6 months of cage life, we introduce plastic chains and ropes and all that sort of stuff. And baby birds, if they're going to have accidents, they're going to have it in that time period.
How do you prevent behavioral problems like screaming for food after weaning?
Well, as we said in part 1, the biggest thing is to make sure your bird is actually eating the solids before you reduce the formula, and not to reduce the formula until you're comfortable that it is eating enough. I can't stress that enough. If you don't do that, you're going to have a bird that's not mentally ready to be looking after itself. It's going to scream at you for food consistently and constantly and incessantly. It's not going to be touching the solids, because all it's concerned about is getting fed and getting filled up by you being hand fed. It's not going to concentrate on what's actually happening around it.
How do you confirm a bird is truly weaned and still not reliant on comfort feeds?
Comfort feeds. So comfort feeds, depending on the species, a comfort feed doesn't really matter. If you're dealing with a black cockatoo, a comfort feed is not something you really want to give. Once they're weaned, you kind of want to use that window to the best of your ability and get out of having to be stuck hand feeding for 9 months. But the main thing to look at is whether the bird is comfortable, whether it's eating enough food. Keep an eye on that food. Like I said in part 1, you can weigh what you've got in a bowl. This is just filled up for video purposes, but you could weigh out how much food you put out to that bird. You could then weigh it at the end of the day and see how much of it it's eaten. If it's eaten 75% of that food, you kind of know that it's on the process and it's doing really well. If it's not eating any more than 10, 15, 20% of what you're giving it, and it's only favouring one certain thing or two certain things, it's not ready. It's not ready. And if you start pushing that baby too hard, you're going to end up with a mentally damaged chick.
What diet do you recommend for a newly weaned bird in its first few months?
And as varied diet as you can. If you are keeping that baby and you plan on keeping that baby, you're going to set it up for breeding, or you're rearing it as a pet for yourself. You can use whatever food that you've got for the rest of your flock or the rest of your pets, or what you're going to maintain it at for the rest of its life. If you are planning on selling that baby as a pet to someone, you want to feed it everything, because you don't know what that person is going to put them on. You can tell them to feed it this, this, and this, but likelihood is they're going to read something on the internet that makes them an expert, and they're going to change that diet to what suits them. And if that bird doesn't know that that is food, they're going to run into issues. And regardless of whether they're an idiot or not, the person that bought them, I'm sorry, but some people are, you need to make sure that the best interests of the bird is there and you give that bird the best chance to survive.
Do you send birds home immediately after weaning or give them an adjustment period?
So once they're weaned, I like to hold a baby for a month at least, even if it's spoken for, unless that person is well versed in hand rearing or in aviculture in general, keeping birds. Ideally, you want to hold that bird for a month. Make sure that it's eating consistently, it's not relying on you to survive anymore, and it's still maintaining its weight.
What advice do you give new owners about feeding and diet after they take the bird home?
Uh, I would say maintain the diet that the breeder has been giving the chick. If you're wanting to introduce new foods, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that as long as they're safe and healthy. And you can add whatever you like, but the biggest thing is to maintain what the bird was on prior to arriving at your place. It's cute, isn't it?
I know. So for our last question, what is the most important thing to remember about weaning?
So I guess to give you an overview or a summary or however you want to put it on the babies and what you should do and shouldn't do is the biggest thing is don't push your birds. You want them to wean, but you don't want to psychologically damage the babies. You don't want them to lose weight. You want them to be as healthy as possible and grow. I mean, one thing, there's no stress bars in this baby. If you look at this plumage, there is not one stress bar in any of these feathers. The collectors are renowned for having stress bars. Big black feathers running through. This baby looks absolutely fantastic, and that's through no stress. We're not pushing it. We haven't pushed it at that certain period where pin feathers start coming through. People start reducing feeds. They start trying to force them to eat solids and all that sort of stuff. We just give them a bowl. At 2 weeks ago, we started introducing solids to this guy, and if he wants it, he can have it. If he doesn't want it, he doesn't have to have it. They will always eventually wean. There's just no point in really stressing them out over it. And you're already hand feeding anyway. What's the difference between another week or two? Don't reduce the formula until you know that they're eating enough solids. And just
When to thicken their formula?
the formula can remain the same consistency unless they're processing it a lot faster and they're not eating enough solids. So you could thicken the formula up a little bit. However, you do need to make sure that if you do thicken the formula, that there is enough moisture in there that you're not going to dehydrate or stop or slow the crop. For safety's sake, I would just stick to the same formula consistency that you're using, and just introduce foods at an early stage. As soon as that bird's moving around in the weaning container, it's out of the brooder, it's off heat. You can start offering. Sorry, you can start offering up chopped fruit. You
Yeah.
can start offering up chopped vegetables. You can steam some sweet potato and pumpkin. The warm vegetables are always going to get their attention more than cold, but they'll still play with it. They'll still try it. Well, thank you guys for coming along. Sorry, I just got told off by the editor. So thank you for coming along. Look, I hope that helps. If you have any questions about weaning, feel free to reach out to us. We are looking at going live on YouTube at a certain time on a certain day and giving anybody the opportunity to ask. I just wish you could see what I see now is this guy chewing on this piece of broccoli. It was pretty cool. He's dropped it now. He's just chewing on what he's got. They're wasteful. They're going to chew and drop it all, most of it, and only take in a little bit. But that's what it's all about. What are you holding your foot up for? Do you want to put your foot there? But yeah, so look, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, especially if we're looking at doing Q&A, live Q&A. There may even be other people that may be joining us on some of our lives eventually that renowned breeders, behavioralists, all that sort of stuff. I have been talking to a few, and they're all pretty keen to join us. So
It would
yeah,
really be nice if there will be people, like a lot of people in the live, because it's not just us sharing knowledge, but also those people who have experience hand rearing
absolutely.
and everything, and you can just talk in the comment section. And
Yeah.
it's really gonna be nice.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I'm looking forward to this page developing. I mean, we've been running for a month and we've already got over 1,000 subscribers, which is
By the way, thank
epic.
you very much for
Yeah,
the 1,000 subscribers, guys.
yeah, which is epic. And one of our videos already reached 30,000 views, which just blew our mind completely. We weren't expecting that at all.
We were only hoping for 1,000
We were
views.
sitting there. I remember my first video. We were going, "Oh, if we get 100 people watching, that would be awesome." And now we're going, "Oh, we only got 3,000 views on that video."
But yeah, anyways, don't forget
Yeah,
to
like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Keep an eye out. If you have any issues, problems, questions, anything like that, reach out. We're here for the birds, and we're here for you guys. So yeah, I look forward to the next video, and until then, chirp on.
Yeah, by the way, don't forget to visit our community on YouTube, because that is where we share and ask you guys suggestions.
She tells me we're done, but she's always got some more to add.
I know. Bye.
See you guys.